within view of the melancholy house of Usher. I know not how it was, but with the first glimpse of this building, a sense of insufferable gloom pervaded my spirit. I looked upon the scene before me, upon the mere house. What was it that was so unnerving in the contemplation of the house of Usher? There was an iciness, yes. Sinking, sickening of the heart. There was an unredeemed dreariness of thought which no goading of the imagination could torture into aught of the sublime. Nevertheless, in this mansion of gloom, I proposed to myself a little vacation of 2 weeks. Its proprietor, Roderick Usher, had been my boon companion in childhood, but many years had lapsed since our last meeting. The letter, however, had lately reached me in a distant part of the country. It was a letter from him. In the letter, he spoke of acute bodily illness, mental disorder which oppressed him, and an earnest desire to see me, his best and indeed only personal friend. It was the manner in which this and much more was said. It was the apparent heart that went with the request. It left me no room for hesitation. And although as boys we had been even intimate associates, as boys are, playing games such as marbles and pick-up sticks and sword fights with sticks and tummy sticks, touching tips, games such as this, as boys are wont to do. And yet, I knew very little of my friend. I was aware, however, that the stem of the Usher race, all-time honored as they were, had put forward at no period any enduring branch. No children. Pondered this as I crossed the short causeway to the house. I was met with a valet of stealthy step, who thence conducted me in silence through many dark and intricate passages. On one of the many stairwells in the house, I met the physician of the family. He accosted me with trepidation and passed on. The man was, and please forgive me for sharpness and severity of tongue, but the man was a complete fuck-doodle. The valet then threw the doors open to the master bedroom and he ushered me, yes, ushered me into the presence of the master. The room I found myself in was very large and lofty. The windows were long, pointed, and narrow, and at so vast a distance from the black oaken floors to be altogether inaccessible from within. The furniture was profuse, comfortless, antique and tattered. Many books and musical instruments lay scattered about, provided no vitality to the scene. Roderick. No! Roderick Usher arose from a sofa at which he had been lying full length. Surely man had never been so terribly altered in so brief a period as had been Roderick Usher. His complexion was cadaverous. He looked like a shadow version of the man that I once knew. His silken hair was more web-like and clung to his temples. His speech was unsteady, like he didn't trust his own instincts. We sat, and he entered at some length into what he perceived to be the nature of his unusual malady. He could only wear garments of a certain texture. The odors of all flowers oppressed him. His eyes were tortured by even the faintest light. Yes, good. I shall perish. I must perish in this deplorable fire. There is an influence, there is a curse which no mortal can escape. Do you not feel it, my friend? Please, do you not sense the decay that pervades the air? Decay? No decay at all, no. I tried to offer him some comfort, but his words had a disquieting truth. It seemed that the entire structure was on the brink of collapse. It was as if the house itself, it was was as if the house itself were a living, sentient being bound to the fate of its master. He admitted, however, that much of his peculiar gloom, which thus afflicted him, could be traced to a more natural and palpable origin. The severe and long-continued illness, indeed the evidently approaching dissolution of a tenderly beloved sister. His sole companion, you must understand, for many years in this empty house, his last ancestor on this earth.
Her disease,
he said to me with a bitterness that I will not forget.
Her disease would leave me the last of the ancient race of Usher.
Now, the disease of the Lady Madeline Usher had long baffled the skill of her physician, the gentleman we met on the stairwell, the fop doodle, the blunderbuss, if you will, the limp biscuit. Yes. Settled apathy. A gradual wasting away of the person was her unusual diagnosis. She was scarcely visible during my stay. She passed through remote portions of the house, like a shadow, pale and quiet, a living corpse. Madeline? Oh. Madeline Usher, oh my goodness, Madame, I'm so sorry to see you there. Madame, please, right this way. Yes, follow me. Yes, Madam, it's a different Madam. Right this way, Madam. Usher, everyone. Yes, I found her. I had the wrong sister. Right this way, no. Yes, please face this way, Madam. Everyone, a round of applause for our Madeline. Madeline Usher, easily identified by the black veil often across her face. One day Roderick informed me, abruptly, that the Lady Madeline was no more. Dead, yes. Ooh, quite commitment, well done. Something like this, yes, dude, just what I said, make it your own. Yes, very good. Roderick then stated his intention of preserving the corpse for a fortnight in the house. Okay. We buried her in a vault beneath the mansion. We partly unscrewed the lid so we could look upon her face just one more time. She had that suspiciously lingering grin upon the lip which is so common and terrible in death. Truly awful. Roderick wept as we led his sister to her tomb, never to be seen again. This way, man. Thank you so much. Roderick and I made our way up to the scarcely less gloomy apartments of the upper portion of the house, and now, several days of bitter grief having elapsed, there came an observable change in the features of the disorder of my friend. He started hearing strange noises, echoes, footfalls that had no place of origin. There was a species of mad hilarity in his eyes.
Have you heard it? Have you seen it? Did you see it?
A terrible storm gathered outside of the house. It seemed to be a direct reflection of Roderick's inner turmoil. Roderick, shall not, must not behold this. I shivered as I pulled him from the window. That air, it is dangerous and it is chilling to your frame. Here. One of your favorite romances. Now I shall read and you shall listen, mister, and we will pass away this terrible night together. For over an hour I read to Roderick from one of his favorite books. A sound came from somewhere deep within the mansion. It was humorous at first because it seemed to be an echo of an exact stanza that I had been reading to Roderick. I smiled, and yet Roderick was not smiling at all. He was curled into the corner of his chair, his eyes fixated on the door to the room.
Yes, I hear it, and have heard it. Long, many minutes, many hours, many days have I heard it, and yet I dare not. Oh, pity me, miserable wretch that I am. I dare not speak, I say. It was selfish of me to bring you here. We buried her, living in the tomb. I heard her first feeble moans in the hollow coffin. And now she comes, struggling against the copper archway of the vault. Her footsteps upon the stairs, the beating of her heart. Madman, I tell you! My Schwester! My Schwester now stands at the door!
As if in the superhuman energy of his utterance there was the potency of a spell. The door swung open, and there stood the blood-stained, emaciated figure of Madeline Usher! Yes, rise, Madeline, yes! Yes! She stood at the threshold of the doorway, shivering and trembling to and fro. Yes! She let out a low, moaning cry! She let out a slightly more audible moaning cry! She let out a bellow from the bottom of her belly from the back row! A loud moaning cry! Yes! Yes! And then she fell forward violently upon her brother, and she bore him to the floor a corpse. The twins, they lie lifeless before me, entwined as they had been in their beginning, and in their sin, beknownst only to their ancestors the walls of this house, and now myself. Goodbye, Robert. Aghast, I fled the mansion as the walls started to shake. I ran across the short causeway. Hi, Madeline. I made my bed. A wild light flashed across my hand. The blood-red moon shone between a fissure in the house of Usher, a fissure that widened rapidly. My brain had reeled as I watched these mighty walls crumble, a long, tumultuous roar like the voice of 1,000 waters. And then it fell sullenly and silently upon itself, as fell my friend Robert, and the fall of the house of Usher.